the biggest difference between conventional coaching and intuitive life coaching is that conventional coaching focuses on the solutions, goal settings, which are very important. We focus on that too. But I call intuitive life coaching is kind of like being a Sherlock Holmes, if you may. So we go deep into understanding the person, into focusing on who they are, why they are, what experience they want to have, what stops them, and we go very deep into that. Like we are being Sherlock Holmes. We're being really, we're doing a deep investigation into the psyche, into the person, so we can help change, transform their life.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the None of Your Business podcast. Sean and Lacey here with you, just as we are each and every week, attempting to one up last week's show. And this week, we're going to make a good run at it because we're speaking interesting topic this week about intuitive life coaching. I'm excited to learn all about what that means. We're going to talk about applying the spiritual side to your, not just life coaching business, but to your business as a whole.
In general, yes. And your life, frankly.
In your life. We have Katya with us. Let's bring Katya into the program. Katya, thank you so much for being a part of the None of Your Business podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, you know that we begin every single show with the exact same question. We've modified it recently, but she's now, I don't know, the third or fourth person to receive the new question. Listen, a lot of times when a guest comes on the show and they're dropping knowledge like you are going to do today, sometimes that's not so relatable to the audience because they can easily fall into the trap of thinking like, well, of course, that's Katya. She's had all the breaks. She's naturally gifted. If I had all of her talents and caught all the right breaks, well, of course, I would be on the None of Your Business podcast too. And what we've learned is that's not always the case, and that every single guest has had their ups and downs, their peaks and their valleys, and their trials and tribulations. And so let's talk about some of your most memorable setbacks and the lessons that you learned on the journey to becoming the Katya that you are today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's a great question. As an intuitive life coach, I really appreciate good questions. So I did have and do still have some setbacks, and probably as a business owner will continue having setbacks. But I think I started to appreciate them more. And what I say to my students and my clients and graduates of the academy is that be grateful for setbacks and be grateful for failures, because with failures and setbacks we learn about ourselves, about our business, about our character, and when we also can start trusting and respecting ourselves even more if we go through these setbacks and difficult times. One of the biggest setbacks in my business, in my work as intuitive life coach, was actually to start with adding the word intuition or intuitive at the beginning of the sentence. That was the biggest biggest setback, or biggest, like, especially when I started many years ago, 13 years ago, when if you are intuitive or if you are spiritual, especially, and wanted to be successful in business, you'd better keep it quiet and you better just call yourself a life coach. So by by not fully being authentic and still having fears about being an intuitive life coach, I started calling myself as a just a life coach. And that brought me one of the first biggest setbacks, because by calling myself a life coach, I started attracting actually the wrong crowd, the wrong people, the wrong clients into my business, because I was not honest and open about who I was. That intuition was one of the tools that I used to help people move forward and change their lives. So I just called myself a life coach. And it attracted the wrong crowd. And I was very disappointed and frustrated and upset that, I was not able to help people who I really wanted to help. So that was the first biggest setback of not being authentic and not walking the talk in a way.
Well, that's a
Because
good set. That's a good. Well, it's not a good setback,
It's
but
a good
it's a
lesson.
good lesson.
It's a
But
good
interesting
lesson.
to hear, because I was even wondering, like when you hear intuitive life coach, like
Yeah.
what that even means.
Yeah. How would you describe intuitive life coach?
okay, that's another good question. The biggest difference between conventional coaching or an intuitive life coaching is that conventional coaching focuses on the solutions, goal settings, which are very important. We focus on that too. But I call intuitive life coaching is kind of like being a Sherlock Holmes, if you may. So we go deep into understanding the person, into focusing on who they are, why they are, what experience they want to have, what stops them, and we go very deep into that. Like we are being Sherlock Holmes. We're being really, we're doing a like a deep investigation into the psyche, into the person, so we can help change, transform their lives. So it's not a surface based coaching, it's a very deep dive. So people, they need to get ready to be triggered, they need to be ready to really answer very difficult questions. Sometimes they don't want to answer those questions. That's what intuitive life coaching is. And also, we as intuitive coaches, we trust our intuition and we use it as a tool, because some people say, oh, are you like a fortune teller? Do you have a crystal ball? I'm like, I like crystals, but no, I'm not a fortune teller. And the biggest difference between fortune telling and intuitive life coaching is that when you come to a fortune teller, they take your power from you by telling you how to live life, or what will be happening, or tomorrow this and this will happen. And intuitive life coaching focuses on giving that power and inspiring people to find the answers within, to connect with their own higher self and higher power, to be connected to their gifts, to trust your intuition. And it's very empowering modality. So it's not, no, I don't have a crystal ball, but yeah. So but I use my intuition as one of the tools. We coaches, as you know, have different tools, and intuition is just one of the very important essential tools for us to help people change their life, find their voice, find their authentic path. And yeah, so
Right.
that's what intuitive life coaching is.
And I think there's so much to unpack here because I feel like, obviously, Sean and I work with a lot of business entrepreneurs, service based entrepreneurs. And, there's people that you run into that they do all the things. They go out there, they execute, they check all the boxes. They're doing all the marketing, they're doing all the sales, they're, making systems for their business. And yet, they're not experiencing the growth and scalability that they desire. And a lot of times, what we find and what we uncover is that it's something within them that they haven't been able to break through, right? And so I think for a lot of people listening out there, I've had people tell me, like, I've tried all the different types of business coaching, but sometimes that's not actually what they need. They need what you're talking about, like the Sherlock Holmes of coaching, right? Where they can
Mhm.
investigate, uncover, ask the hard questions. Because sometimes it's just doing the work internally that gets all the other stuff that you are externally doing to start really working. But I want to go back to something that you said earlier when you were talking about one, your most memorable setback that you overcame. Um, you said that setbacks, you tell that your clients all the time, and you tell the coaches that you train, the students at the academy, that setbacks actually allow us to trust ourselves and respect ourselves more. I thought that that was really powerful. I think that a lot of people look at setbacks purely as negative. So can you expand on that a little bit, that concept?
Absolutely. Yesterday at my class, Awakening Your Intuition, I was sharing with our community that uh, don't be afraid of failures and setbacks while you are stepping into your intuition, when you are learning your intuitive voice, your intuitive calling card, and because with setbacks and with failures, you will not what your intuition is not. You will be able to differentiate the voice of your intuition, or the voice of your like of your success, against what it is not. And you will say, okay, and uh, the important thing about failure and setback is that when it's happening, instead of going into like a down spiraling and being upset, depressed, sad, and crying and anxious, like just maybe cry for 5 minutes, that's okay. And then kind of look through your failure through magnifying glass and see, okay, what really happened, like kind of dissect the situation. By dissecting, by looking through a magnifying glass, by really understanding, okay, maybe I did something that was not in alignment with my values. Maybe here I got this advice from someone, but it really didn't sit right with me. I didn't feel good about it, and I still went with it. Or here I went and did something that I don't know. I saw red flags from the beginning. So kind of try to understand, to dissect, to like to look at the details of your failure or of your setback, and it will help you to understand, okay, so next time when I have an opportunity or when something is happening, I will act differently, or I will approach the situation differently, or I will listen to my inner gut, inner feeling more, or I will just, kind of like, instead of just saying, okay, I'm a failure, I'm a victim, let's cry together, you really want to appreciate it, and try to understand what really happened and how not to repeat that moving forward.
I love that. And I want to just, in the middle of the podcast, I don't like for people to have to wait to the very end to find out how they can engage with you. Katya, how can people find out? You were talking about some of these classes that you give. How can people find out more about the classes and how they can work with you? Where do they find you?
uh, it's a secret. No.
Use your
Use
intuition.
your you find us
Use
your
your
intuition.
intuition. No, actually, it's very easy to find me. I think these days, at least for myself, I see myself everywhere. Like, oh my God, it's me again. But if to be serious, it's like, oh my God. If to be serious, I'm a intuitive life coach with 13 years of experience as a working with people and groups, but I also founder of Intuitive Life Coaching Academy, where we teach and certify intuitive life coaches. Our program is accredited by International Coaching Federation. It's a very respected organization for life coaches. And right now, we just started our 8th class. So, our first class we started in the midst of COVID. This idea came to me, and like, okay, I'm doing it, Eureka. And today, Saturday, we started our 8th class. So, it's there is a still a chance to get into our program, our 8th class. G8, how we call it, because we just started. It's a 6-month program, and you get a comprehensive life coaching education, intuitive development, great community, great opportunity for you to start to create your intuitive life coaching business, or learn how you can incorporate intuitive life coaching business into your existing business. Let's say for chiropractors, or for holistic doctors, or for other multiple entrepreneurs that join our program.
Yeah, so the website, that's what I wanted. I wanted to hear Katya say the
Website.
website. What are you going to say? Ilkate?
I no. No.
The website is
It's I'll Kate.
www.ilcate. You could say www.ilcate with a
Uh,
C.
we say
ILCATE.com. So make sure that you check her out. Katya, so another thing that people say a lot, I hear this all the time. Ah, I knew it. I should have listened to my intuition.
Or my gut. A lot
Why
of people say gut.
why is it that we're so smart about our intuition after the fact? Number one. So obviously a lot of people recognize it, but we have a hard time heeding it. And two, tell us a little bit about this class, Awakening Your Intuition, because I wonder if it's so much awakening my intuition as teaching me how to be a better listener and executor of what my intuition is guiding me to.
you uh, um, you just mentioned something that I actually start my intuitive classes with, because a lot of people come to intuitive development classes and they say, "Oh, teach me the techniques, teach me how to." And I say, whoa, let's wait. Before I will teach you how to do X, Y, and Z, because we will, the first thing that we need to tackle, that we need to learn, is how to actually trust your intuition. You are absolutely right. It's not about the techniques and tools. It's about trusting. And this is the hardest thing, because we were conditioned, programmed for hundreds and hundreds of years to just focus on our logical mind, right? On our conscious mind. And that's the programming of our parents, our grandparents, and it is the hardest to change. Like, we have so many limiting beliefs around the idea of and shame, even around the idea of intuition, or it's like a taboo, or it's something like less than, or if you want to be a successful person, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about just business stuff, and then I'm just as a leisure or as my hobby, I will focus. But no, we are trying to change that idea that intuition and business success should be in different places. Like, we're talking about how to combine intuition with your success, with your business, with your entrepreneurship, because you can use your logical mind, you can use your experience, you can use your education, and how to trust. For that, come to my classes.
Yeah.
I will be happy. I will be happy to teach you how to actually start trusting your intuition, and I do it very well. Because what I say that you can read books on life coaching or intuitive development, you can watch all the videos you want, but what we give, what we special, what's special about us is that we will give you the audacity to actually say, okay, I will trust my intuition. I will go for it. I will jump from that bridge. I will actually I will do it. And that's, I think, is a very valuable thing that that we give in our program, in our to our community.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because trust is so easy for so many people, but not to
Well, so I was
themselves.
going to say,
Yeah,
yeah.
like it's easy. Like so many individuals are like, well, I trusted what this other individual told me to do, or I trusted the story I got over here, or I trusted somebody else's success that I saw. Therefore, I'm going to do this thing, even if it goes against their intuition or
Their
what's in their
values she talked
values.
about.
Yeah, and I think that that's so important. And I'm wondering, because I heard you say this term earlier. You said it wasn't in alignment. Like, you have to ask yourself, when things go wrong, are we experiencing setbacks? Was it out of alignment to where I was trying to go and what I truly desired? Is being in alignment and trusting your intuition, do those things go hand in hand?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because when you are not in alignment, it means that you don't trust yourself. You are not connected with your with with yourself, with who you are, with what you want. And intuition, the first step in trusting your intuition starts with connecting with yourself. Because a lot of people, what they do, the first thing they do coming when they come home is turning on the TV, right? Because they don't want to hear their own thoughts and feelings. It's the hardest thing for us to really. It's easier for us healers to help others, right? It kind of takes away the focus from our own mind, from our own problems. So we go and help others. uh, and it's the hardest thing is to focus on yourself, to really connect with yourself, clear your mind. I recommend highly meditation. It helps you to clear your mind and hear your own voice and hear your own thoughts, not thoughts of other people or what society is telling you to be or do, but your own true authentic self. And then we call it higher self. So you connect with your higher self, and from that higher self you can connect with higher vibrations and higher energies, and clearly hear your guidance and clearly understand your intuition. So
Well, that brings us to the spirituality component. So your higher self, and then you said even higher vibrations. Oftentimes, especially, we do a show for entrepreneurs, introducing the spiritual side of things with
Mhm.
Pastor Brian Hall, who is a Christian pastor. When you
mhm.
say spirituality, well, that means different things to different people. So when Katya is talking about spirituality relative to your clients, the people that you work with, and the people that you're teaching, what exactly are we talking about when we're introducing spirituality into the discussion?
Spirituality, we have people of really different beliefs, spiritual beliefs, believing in God, believing different religions, and we respect all their beliefs. What we mean by spirituality in when we talk about spirituality is this higher power, this energy that gives us guidance, and it's different for different people, right? We can talk about God, we can talk about spirit guides, we can talk about different spiritual uh, belief systems. So we don't say, okay, this is the only spirituality you can have. But when I talk about my spirituality is my belief in higher power, my belief in that there is something else that exists, that is made of light and love, that guides us, and if only we could hear, if only we were open to to hear that, to trust that. This is kind of like, you hear people say, oh, fate, or something like, oh, I believe in fate. In a way, this is the fate that you create. You are create we I believe that we are creators of our own fate, but we always, if we are in alignment with our why, if we are in alignment with our purpose, if we do what we are passionate about, and we are open to hear for the guidance. Like, for example, I work with you guys, right? I'm
Mhm.
open to hear your advice or your guidance. It's kind of the same way, right? And then because I'm so open to your advice, and I keep you in high regards on so many levels, like, I take this action, or I do what you already, like, what you teach us as your coaches. The
Yeah.
same thing with guidance. If you're open to hear your guidance, if you're open to listen to your gut feeling, to say, okay, it doesn't feel right, even though everybody say that it's the right thing to do, you don't do that, you go with your gut, you will get help, you will be guided, you will be
You go in the
supported.
right
That's
direction. Yeah,
correct.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's gold to me. That's awesome because it starts with, are you open? And there's so many, like so many people are not open to receive instruction or guidance from their parents.
right.
A lot of people are not open to receive guidance or instruction from their significant other. And then you hear it from another source, and then you follow
You're
that
like, oh,
guidance.
yeah.
And the other person's like, but I was saying that. But that's interesting on the spiritual side to say, like, you first have to be even
Open.
open to that. I love that.
Well, I
Absolutely.
don't want to leave this conversation without talking a little bit more about the school, because speaking of guidance and being open, you have guided 8 classes of students through the academy to get their certification in intuitive life coaching. But I know from experience watching the people that go in and out of there, I feel like while it's a great thing for them to learn to be able to help others, I feel like they really learn a lot about themselves when
Mm.
they go through this course, right? It's almost like, for anybody listening out there, while you may say to yourself, I don't necessarily want to be a coach or be an intuitive life coach, there's actually ways that you can utilize this course and this information to apply it into the very thing that you're doing, but mostly apply it to self, right? Because there's a lot of shifts and change I know that people go through with that course. So, who else is that good for?
I remember we even had a laugh about, if you don't want to become a life coach, join our program.
Right?
So, because actually it's a great program for any conscious spiritual entrepreneur.
Yep,
Like,
absolutely.
period.
Period. That's it. You
Period.
are a conscious spiritual entrepreneur that wants to be more open to guidance from a higher power,
Mhm.
from yourself, right? And then potentially utilize that to help better guide others. That's
And
who
if
it's good
you
for.
and if you want that, all you have to do is go to www.ilkate.com. ILCATE. That's where you can find all of the information about Katya, what she's doing, what she's up to, her courses. And of course, you can get enrolled yourself to become certified as an intuitive life coach. And that's what I love is like, listen, there are so many courses for life coaches.
Right.
What's interesting is this is a course for life coaches, but it's for everyone.
Right.
That's you. Check it out. Go to www.ilcate. You can see what it stands for. Intuitive Life Coach. Intuitive Life Coach Academy of
Of the
the
third eye.
third eye.
I.
But that's because they're going to forget the O and the T.
Yeah.
Those are out. ILCATE. Remember that, folks. ILCATE. Go check it out so that you can get subscribed and get enrolled in all of these amazing coaches. I
And
love
get
that.
more open.
Katcha dropped absolute bombs today that I hope that you are receiving. And I hope that you are open to receive them. And first of all, if you listen to the podcast, that was your first sign that you were open. And then
Right.
you were like, who's Katya? But you were already open-minded, which is great. And now I hope that you're even more open-minded to what she is teaching you. I love these concepts too, to learn how to trust your intuition. And if your intuition is able to guide you and wants to guide you and give you so much great information, if you are open to receive it about your own life, then imagine that you can step it up one notch and learn how to apply that in helping others. And then Katya is going to open the door to what lives above that and and your ability to tap into that. www.ilcate.com. Katya, thank you so much for being a phenomenal guest on the podcast this week.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, folks. So I don't know how we're going to do it. We're going to, like, we had a Russian intuitive life coach just knock it out of the park this week. We're going to be on James to go out and find us
Somebody.
a really, really good guest next week. We're going to be back again next week. We'll give it a shot. I don't know how we top this one.
Maybe it's just got to be me and you.
Maybe we'll just do Lacey and I. Just a reset back to ground zero for the two of us. Maybe we'll
SNL.
do that.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. We'll see what James says. All right, everybody. Join us next week. You don't know what you're going to get. What you are going to get is a brand new edition of the None of Your Business podcast. That much we promise you. See you next week.